The massive space station called Nexus Prime floated in the dark space between stars. It was bigger than most moons and home to the most powerful government in the galaxy. Inside its crystal walls, representatives from 847 different alien species made decisions that affected trillions of lives across thousands of worlds. Today, those representatives were angry, very angry. Admiral Kim Tae-ho walked through the long corridors of the station. His black uniform with Earth's blue and white patch looked small compared to the colorful robes and strange bodies of the aliens around him. Some had tentacles instead of arms. Others floated in glass tanks filled with glowing liquid. A few looked like walking trees with eyes, but they all stared at him the same way, like he was dangerous. Behind Admiral Kim walked Dr. Park Minji, a woman with short black hair and tired eyes. She carried a data pad that contained reports about Earth's military strength, reports that had apparently scared the entire galaxy. "Remember," Dr. Park whispered to the Admiral, "stay calm no matter what they say." Admiral Kim nodded. He had fought in 3 wars before humanity joined the galactic community. He had seen plasma fire and laser beams that could cut through mountains, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. They entered the Grand Assembly Hall. The room was enormous, with seats rising up in circles like a giant stadium. Each seat was designed for a different type of alien body. Some hung from the ceiling. Others sat in pools of strange liquid. At the center of it all was a raised platform, where the most important decisions were made. Sitting on that platform was Chancellor Veltarion. He looked like a living crystal sculpture with light dancing inside his transparent body. When he spoke, his voice rang like beautiful music. But his words were not beautiful at all. "Humans of Earth," Chancellor Veltarion began, "you stand before this assembly to hear our judgment." The hall became completely quiet. Admiral Kim felt the weight of nearly 1,000 alien eyes watching him. Dr. Park stood straighter, ready for whatever was coming. "For 100 Earth years," the Chancellor continued, "your species has been part of our galactic family. We welcomed you when you were young and eager to learn. We shared our knowledge. We opened our trade routes. We gave you the gift of faster-than-light travel." Admiral Kim remembered those early days. Humans had been so excited to meet other intelligent life. They had been grateful for every scrap of technology the aliens shared. They had tried so hard to fit in, but instead of gratitude, Chancellor Veltarion's voice grew darker. "You have shown us arrogance. Instead of following our peaceful ways, you have chosen the path of war." A creature that looked like a giant spider with too many eyes clicked its mandibles in agreement. Others made sounds that Admiral Kim's translator couldn't identify, but he understood they were sounds of anger. "Your military grows stronger every year," the Chancellor said. "Your ships are faster than ours. Your weapons are more deadly. Your soldiers train for combat while our people study art and philosophy." Dr. Park wanted to speak, but Ambassador Lee Dong-hyun, Earth's chief diplomat, had warned them to listen first. He sat in the human section with his hands folded, his face showing no emotion. "Worst of all," Chancellor Veltarion continued, "you refuse to follow proper procedures. When faced with a problem, other species form committees. They study the issue for years. They debate and discuss until everyone agrees. But humans—" His crystalline body flashed with angry red light. "Humans just act. You invent new solutions. You change things without permission. You make other species wonder why they have always accepted the old ways." Now Admiral Kim understood. This wasn't really about Earth's military. This was about something much more dangerous to the aliens. Way of life. This was about human creativity. A new voice spoke from the shadows. It belonged to Senator Quindar, a member of the Vorthan species. The Vorthans looked like sharks that had learned to walk on land, with rows of sharp teeth and cold black eyes. 3 months ago, Senator Quindar said, a human exploration ship encountered a space plague that was killing an entire star system. According to proper galactic protocol, they should have reported to us and waited for a committee to study the problem. Instead, they invented a cure in 6 days and saved 4 billion lives. The senator's teeth gleamed as he spoke. 6 days. Do you know how dangerous that is? What if other species start to believe they can solve problems quickly instead of waiting for official approval? Admiral Kim felt his jaw clench. The aliens were actually angry that humans had saved lives too efficiently. Another example, said a floating creature that looked like a jellyfish made of light. Last year, humans developed a new type of engine that travels twice as fast as our best ships. They shared this technology with the Kalani Republic without asking our permission first. Now the Kalani are asking questions about why their own scientists never thought of such improvements. Dr. Park could stay quiet no longer. With respect, honored representatives, we have never broken any galactic laws. We have never attacked anyone. We have only tried to help. Chancellor Veltarian's body flashed brighter. That is exactly the problem, Dr. Park. Your help shows others that improvement is possible. For 50,000 years we have maintained peace through stability. Every species knows their place. Every technology develops at the proper, careful pace. But humans disrupt this balance with their reckless innovation. The Chancellor stood up, his crystalline form towering over the assembly. Therefore, the Galactic Consual Senate has reached a decision. Humanity will reduce its military forces by 90%. You will surrender all ships larger than exploration vessels. You will cease all weapons research. You will dismantle your defensive systems around Earth and your colonies. Admiral Kim felt his heart stop. They were demanding that humanity become defenseless. Furthermore, the Chancellor continued, human scientists will work only on projects approved by this Senate. No more unauthorized innovations, no more disruptions to galactic stability. Dr. Park stepped forward. Chancellor, if we do this, we will be helpless against any attack. We will have no way to defend ourselves. Senator Quindar laughed, a sound like metal scraping against stone. Who would attack you? We are all peaceful species here. You only need protection from your own violent impulses. You have 60 standard galactic days to comply, Chancellor Veltarian announced. If you refuse, humanity will be expelled from galactic civilization. Your trade agreements will end. Your access to galactic technology will stop. Your colonies will be cut off from supply lines. The unspoken threat hung in the air like poison. If humanity was expelled, they would be alone in a galaxy full of advanced civilizations. Any one of those civilizations could destroy Earth whenever they chose. And if that is not enough motivation, Senator Quindar added with his shark-like grin, we have prepared a demonstration of what happens to species that refuse to cooperate. A hologram appeared in the center of the assembly hall. It showed a beautiful planet with blue oceans and white clouds. Cities sparkled like jewels across its surface. This was Kepler 442b, the senator explained. Home to the Innovari species. Like humans, they were creative problem solvers. Like humans, they developed technology too quickly. Like humans, they inspired other species to question the established order. The hologram changed. Now it showed the same planet, but dead. No cities, no lights, no life at all. The Innovari chose to resist our guidance, Senator Quindar said softly. They believed their creativity made them special. They were wrong. Admiral Kim felt cold fear run down his spine. Dr. Park's face had gone completely white. Ambassador Lee Donghyun closed his eyes and took a deep breath. We are not monsters, Chancellor Veltarian said, his voice becoming gentle again. We do not wish to see humanity suffer the same fate. Accept our terms, and Earth will remain safe. Your people will live in peace under our protection. The Chancellor raised one crystalline hand. But remember, the choice is yours. 60 days to decide between wisdom and destruction. The assembly began to break up. Aliens floated, walked, and slithered toward the exits, discussing the decision in hundreds of different languages, but many of them kept looking back at the three humans standing alone in the center of the Great Hall. Admiral Kim stared at the hologram of the dead planet still floating above them. 60 days to choose between surrender and extinction. It didn't seem like much of a choice at all. But, as he watched the aliens leave, he noticed something interesting. Some of them looked excited about humanity's ultimatum, but others looked worried. And a few looked almost hopeful. Maybe there was more to this situation than it appeared. Maybe humanity wasn't as alone as the Senate wanted them to believe. "Come on," Dr. Park said quietly. "We need to get back to Earth. We have a lot of work to do." As they walked toward their ship, Admiral Kim wondered what kind of response Earth would give to this ultimatum. Whatever it was, he had a feeling the galaxy was about to be surprised. The aliens thought they knew humans. They were about to learn how wrong they were. And the emergency session in the Global Defense Council chamber on Earth had been going for 12 hours. President Yoo Ji-hoon sat at the head of a long table surrounded by the most important people on the planet. His usually calm face showed the stress of the impossible decision they faced. "We have 57 days left," Admiral Kim Tae-ho said, still wearing his travel uniform from the trip back from Nexus Prime. 57 days to decide if humanity surrenders or dies. General Choi, Hyunwoo slammed his fist on the table. "This is insane. We saved 4 billion lives with that plague cure and they punish us for it? We share our engine technology to help others, and they call us disruptive?" Dr. Park Minji looked exhausted. She had spent the entire flight home analyzing every word. The aliens had said, "It's not about what we did, General, it's about what we represent. We're proof that their system doesn't work." Around the table sat Earth's leadership. There was Dr. Kang Soo-young, head of the Advanced Research Division, her gray hair pulled back severely. Captain Nam Ji-won, the youngest person in the room, commanded humanity's first deep space exploration vessel. Defense Minister Shin Warham kept checking his data pad, which showed reports from Earth's military bases across the solar system. "Let's be honest about our situation," President Yoo said quietly. "If we refuse their demands, we're facing 847 alien species. Some of them have been spacefaring for thousands of years. Their combined fleets could turn Earth into glass." "So we just give up?" Captain Nam asked. "We hand over our ships and hope they don't decide to eliminate us anyway?" Dr. Kang Soo-young had been quiet through most of the meeting. Now she spoke up. "Before we make any decisions, there's something you all need to know. Something classified that changes everything." She stood and walked to the large screen at the front of the room. With a few touches, she brought up a star map showing the local galactic region. "For the past 5 years, my research teams have been studying the ruins of dead civilizations," Dr. Kang said. "We told everyone we were looking for new technologies. That was partly true. But we were really trying to answer one question. Why are there so many empty worlds in this galaxy?" The star map changed. Red dots appeared scattered across hundreds of star systems. Each red dot represents a world where intelligent life once existed, but suddenly vanished. Dr. Kang continued. "Not from war, not from natural disasters, from something else." General Choi leaned forward. "What kind of something else?" Dr. Kang touched the screen again. Now it showed detailed scans of a ruined city on a distant planet. "This is from the Zephon system. The civilization there developed faster than light travel about 3,000 years ago. Within 50 years, they had explored dozens of nearby systems. They were innovators, inventors, problem solvers." She paused, letting that sink in. "Then, they joined the Galactic Senate. According to the records we found, the Senate welcomed them warmly, shared technology, offered trade agreements. Everything seemed peaceful." "But?" President Yoo prompted. "But the Zephons kept innovating. They developed new medicines, new energy sources, new ways of thinking about old problems. Other species in their region began asking why they couldn't do the same things." The image on the screen changed to show the same planet, but dead and empty. Within 100 years of joining the Senate, the Zephon civilization was gone. Officially, records say they suffered a plague, but our analysis shows something different. Captain Nam stood up to get a better look at the data. "What did you find?" "Traces of weapons that don't exist in any current galactic arsenal," Dr. Kang said grimly. "Technology that was deliberately designed to destroy every living thing on a planet while leaving the infrastructure intact." The room fell silent. The implications were terrifying. "How many?" Admiral Kim asked quietly. 47 civilizations in the past 10,000 years, Dr. Kang replied. All of them had one thing in common. They were innovators who inspired, others to question the established order. Defense Minister Shin looked sick. You're saying the Senate has been systematically murdering entire species? I'm saying the Senate has been maintaining their version of peace through genocide, Dr. Kang answered. And now they're planning to do the same thing to us. President Yu rubbed his temples. The headache he'd had since the meeting at Nexus Prime was getting worse. There's more, Captain Nam said suddenly. All eyes turned to her. During my deep space missions, I've encountered other species, ones that aren't part of the Senate. She activated her own data pad and shared information with the main screen. 3 months ago, while exploring the Kepler 438 system, we met a group calling themselves the Forgotten Worlds Alliance. They're species that escaped Senate control and have been hiding in the Outer Rim. The screen showed images of alien ships unlike anything in the Senate fleet. They looked organic, grown rather than built. Their leader is someone called the Archive Keeper. He told me something interesting. He said humanity isn't the first species to reject Senate authority and survive, but we might be the first with enough strength to do something about it. General Choi's eyes lit up. You mean we have potential allies? Maybe, Captain Nam said carefully. But they're scattered and hiding. They've survived by running away, not fighting back. Dr. Park had been studying the data about dead civilizations. Wait a minute. Dr. Kang, you said these extinct species were all innovators. But what made them different from species that joined the Senate and survived? Dr. Kang brought up more data. Good question. The species that survive long-term in the Senate system have one thing in common. They stop innovating. They accept their assigned role in galactic society and never try to change it. So the Senate doesn't just want us disarmed, Admiral Kim realized. They want us lobotomized. They want to cut out the part of humanity that makes us human. President Yu stood up and walked to the window overlooking the city of New Geneva. Millions of people lived their lives down there, unaware that their entire species faced extinction. Options, he said without turning around. Give me real options. General, Choi was the first to speak. We fight. We may lose, but at least we die as humans. We run, Captain Nam offered. Load as many people as possible onto ships and head for the Outer Rim. Try to survive in exile. We comply, Dr. Park said quietly. Give them what they want, and hope they honor their agreement. All terrible choices, President Yu said. He turned back to face the room. Dr. Kang, in your research, did you find any species that successfully resisted the Senate? Dr. Kang hesitated. There are rumors. Stories about a species called the Architects who supposedly transcended physical existence rather than be destroyed. But those are probably just myths. What about the weapons used to destroy those civilizations? Admiral Kim asked. If we know how they work, maybe we can defend against them. I've been studying that, Dr. Kang admitted. The technology is incredibly advanced. It would take us decades to develop countermeasures, and we have less than 2 months. The room fell quiet again. Then General Choi spoke up with a strange tone in his voice. What if we give them exactly what they asked for? Everyone stared at him. Explain, President Yu said. General Choi smiled for the first time since the meeting began. They want us to reduce our military by 90%. They want us to dismantle our defensive systems. They want us to stop our weapons research. That's surrender, Dr. Park protested. No, General Choi said, his smile growing wider. That's the most literal interpretation of their demands. But they never said we couldn't build new things to replace what we're dismantling. Dr. Kang caught on first. You're talking about Operation Mirror. What's Operation Mirror? President Yu asked. General Choi and Dr. Kang exchanged looks. It's a theoretical project we've been working on, Dr. Kang explained. The idea is to make our military capabilities invisible to standard detection methods. Stealth technology? Admiral Kim asked. Better than stealth, General Choi said. What if we could hide entire fleets in dimensions that aliens can't even perceive? What if we could build weapons that look like peaceful research equipment? What if we could train soldiers who appear to be ordinary civilians? Captain Nam's eyes widened. You're talking about restructuring our entire military in less than 60 days. It's impossible, Dr. Park said. Impossible is what humans do best, President Yu said slowly. Dr. Kang, is Operation Mirror actually feasible? Dr. Kang looked at her notes. If we mobilize every scientist, every engineer, every military planner on Earth and in the colonies, maybe. It would require innovations that we haven't even imagined yet. Innovations that would scare the Senate even more than our current capabilities, Admiral Kim pointed out. Only if they find out about them, General Choi said. And they won't, because officially, we'll be complying with their demands completely. President Yu walked back to his chair and sat down heavily. So our choice is between certain death and impossible innovation? When you put it like that, Captain Nam said with a grin, it doesn't sound like much of a choice at all. President, Yu looked around the table at Earth's leadership. These people had guided humanity through first contact, through joining galactic civilization, through the growing tensions that had led to this moment. Now they had to guide the species through. It's grr. Engineer Oh Seung-hwan had not slept in 3 days. His eyes were red from staring at holographic blueprints that floated around his workshop like glowing ghosts. Empty coffee cups covered every surface and his black hair stuck up in all directions. But he was smiling. Dr. Lim, come look at this, he called to the woman working at the next station. Dr. Lim Hayan looked just as tired as he did, but her eyes sparkled with excitement. She walked over to see his latest design. On the hologram was what looked like a simple cargo ship, the kind that carried supplies between planets every day. Looks normal, she said. Oh Seung-hwan grinned and touched a control. The cargo ship began to change. Panels slid away to reveal weapon ports. The hull reconfigured itself into an aggressive combat shape. In 30 seconds, the peaceful transport had become a deadly warship. Project Rebirth, he announced proudly. Every civilian ship we build will actually be a military vessel in disguise. Dr. Lim nodded appreciatively. Beautiful work, but can they actually fool the Senate scanners? That's where your dimensional storage comes in, Oh Seung-hwan replied. The weapons and armor plating exist in pocket dimensions when we don't need them. To any scanner, these ships will register as exactly what they appear to be. Dr. Lim had made the breakthrough that made Operation Mirror possible. She had discovered how to fold space so that entire objects could exist in parallel dimensions, accessible instantly but completely invisible to normal detection. I've tested it with small objects, she said, but hiding entire weapon systems, that's much more complex. Across the massive underground facility, thousands of Earth's best scientists and engineers worked on different aspects of the project. The facility itself was hidden beneath the Sahara Desert, invisible to orbital scans and completely off the official records. Commander Bae Min-ho walked between the workstations, checking on progress. He was in charge of training the new civilian Space Corps, pilots and crew members who would operate humanity's disguised fleet. How are the recruits doing? Dr. Lim asked him. Commander Bae smiled grimly. They're the best we've ever trained. They have to be. Every one of them needs to be able to switch from cargo handler to combat pilot in seconds. At another station, Dr. Jeon Yoonji was working on the most revolutionary part of Operation Mirror. She called it the Harmony Protocol, and it was based on technology that the Senate didn't even know was possible. The human brain, she explained to a group of volunteer test subjects, processes information differently than alien minds. We can think faster, adapt quicker, and coordinate better than any species in the galaxy. But we've never used that advantage properly. She showed them a headset that looked like a simple communication device. This interfaces directly with your nervous system. When you're connected to your ship, you don't just pilot it, you become part of it. Your reaction time drops to milliseconds. Your awareness expands to cover everything around you. One of the volunteers, a young pilot named Kim, Hyun-soo raised his hand. Is it safe? Dr. Jeon paused. We don't know. This technology has never been tested on this scale. But if it works, a single human crew will be able to outperform entire alien squadrons. The volunteer pilots looked at each other nervously. Then, Kim Hyun-soo nodded. When do we start? All across Earth and the human colonies, similar scenes were playing out. In orbital shipyards, workers were building vessels that looked like simple research ships but contained technology that would revolutionize space combat. In training facilities, soldiers practiced transforming from civilian roles to military readiness in seconds. The most challenging part was keeping it all secret. Senate observers were stationed throughout human space, monitoring the dismantling of the old fleet. They had to see humanity complying with every demand. So humanity gave them exactly what they wanted to see. Every day, the observers filed reports about another batch of human warships being broken down for scrap. They watched human weapons being deactivated and stored. They saw Earth's defensive platforms being powered down and abandoned. What they didn't see was that for every old ship dismantled, 2 new ones were being built in hidden locations. For every weapon deactivated, 3 more advanced versions were being created in secret. For every defensive platform shut down, an entire network of invisible defenses was taking its place. The Senate observers congratulated themselves on humanity's cooperation. They sent messages back to Nexus Prime describing how the dangerous humans were finally being brought under control. They had no idea they were watching the greatest deception in galactic history. With 10 days left before the deadline, Dr. Kang Soo-young called a meeting of the project leaders. They gathered in the main conference room of the hidden facility, surrounded by holographic displays showing their progress. Status report, she said simply. Engineer Oh Seung-wan spoke first. We have 347 disguised warships ready for deployment. Each one appears to be a civilian vessel but can transform into full combat configuration in under 1 minute. Dr. Lim Haeon was next. Dimensional storage systems are operational. We can hide entire fleets in pocket space and bring them back instantly when needed. Commander Bae Min-ho looked tired but satisfied. The Civilian Space Corps has 5,000 trained personnel ready for action. To any outside observer, they're cargo pilots, research assistants, and maintenance workers. In reality, they're the most elite fighting force humanity has ever created. Dr. John Yoonji saved the biggest news for last. The Harmony Protocol is ready. We've tested it with small groups, and the results exceed all expectations. Human crews using the protocol can coordinate perfectly and react faster than any alien technology can track. Dr. Kang nodded slowly. And the Senate observers? They suspect nothing, Commander Bae replied. Yesterday, Observer Zilmoth complimented me on how peacefully humanity has accepted the Senate's guidance. For the first time in weeks, Dr. Kang allowed herself to smile. Then we're ready. But even as she said it, she wondered if they really were. They were about to face the combined might of 847 species with technology they had invented in less than 2 months. Success would change the galaxy forever. Failure would mean the extinction of the human race. There's one more thing, she said quietly. If this works, if we succeed in fooling the Senate tomorrow, we can never go back to being the species we were before. The humans who come out of this will be something new. The room fell silent as everyone contemplated that truth. They were not just fighting for humanity's survival. They were fighting for the right to evolve, to grow, to become something greater than what they had been. Any regrets? Dr. Kang asked. Engineer Oh Seung-wan spoke for them all. Only that we can't see the looks on their faces when they realize what we've done. Tomorrow, the galaxy would discover that humanity had complied with every single demand the Senate had made. And in doing so, they had become something the Senate could never have imagined. The preparation phase was complete. Now came the moment of truth. Ambassador Lee Dong-hyun stood in the shuttle bay of Nexus Prime, watching the Senate's inspection fleet prepare to depart for Earth. 300 warships from dozens of different species filled the space around the massive station. It was enough firepower to destroy entire solar systems, and they were all heading to Earth to verify humanity's compliance. Nervous? Admiral Kim Tae-ho asked as he joined the ambassador. Terrified, Lee replied honestly. If our people made even one mistake, if the Senate discovers what we've really been doing, Dr. Park Minji approached them carrying a datapad filled with reports. The observers are satisfied with our compliance. They've filed reports confirming that humanity has dismantled 90% of our military fleet, just as demanded. 3 humans watched as Senator Quindar's flagship, a massive vessel shaped like a predatory fish, took the lead position in the formation. The senator had insisted on personally overseeing the inspection, hoping to find some excuse to declare humanity in violation of the agreement. He wants us to fail, Admiral Kim observed. Then let's make sure we don't disappoint him, Ambassador Lee said with a grim smile. The fleet departed Nexus Prime in a spectacular display of alien technology. Ships that looked like living creatures swam through space alongside geometric, crystal vessels and mechanical constructs that defied human understanding of physics. Back on Earth, President Yu Ji-hoon watched the approaching fleet from the Situation Room beneath New Geneva. Surrounding him were the architects of Operation Mirror, all of them trying to look calm while their hearts raced with anticipation. Fleet ETA is 6 hours, reported Captain Nam Ji-won from her position aboard the exploration vessel New Horizon. To the Senate, it was one of humanity's few remaining military ships. In reality, it was the command center for the most sophisticated deception in galactic history. All disguised vessels are in position, added Commander Bae Minho. The Senate will see exactly what they expect to see. Dr. John Yoonji monitored the Harmony Protocol network. All crews are connected and ready. Human response time is now down to 0.03 seconds. As the alien fleet entered Earth's solar system, they began their inspection procedures. Advanced scanners swept across human space, looking for any sign of hidden weapons or undeclared military vessels. They found nothing. What they saw instead was exactly what the reports had described. A handful of exploration ships, some research stations, and dozens of civilian cargo vessels going about their peaceful business. Senator Quindar was not satisfied. Begin close-range inspections, he ordered. Board their ships, examine their facilities. I want to be absolutely certain these humans are not hiding anything. For the next several hours, alien inspection teams searched human vessels and installations throughout the solar system. They found cargo holds full of supplies, research labs studying peaceful applications of science, and maintenance bays filled with civilian equipment. Every inspection confirmed the same thing. Humanity had complied completely with the Senate's demands. But Senator Quindar still wasn't satisfied. Something is wrong, he told his staff. Humans don't give up this easily. Perhaps you underestimated their wisdom, suggested his aide, a floating creature that communicated through color changes. They saw the fate of the Inavari and chose survival over pride. Maybe, the senator growled. But I want to be sure. Order a full military scan of their entire system. If they're hiding something, we'll find it. The most powerful sensors in the Senate fleet activated simultaneously, sending waves of detection energy throughout Earth's solar system. The scans were so thorough they could detect a single hidden weapon anywhere within 1 billion kilometers. They found nothing unusual. What the Senate didn't know was that they were looking in the wrong dimensions. Thanks to Dr. Lim Haeyeon's breakthrough, humanity's real fleet existed in parallel space, completely invisible to normal sensors. Sir, reported the sensor officer aboard Senator Quindar's flagship, all scans complete. We detect no hidden military assets, no concealed weapons, no undeclared vessels. The humans appear to be exactly what they claim to be. Senator Quindar stared at the display showing Earth's blue and white surface. 3 billion humans lived on that world, and they had all accepted defeat without firing a single shot. It should have been satisfying, but something felt wrong. Open a communication channel to Earth, he ordered. President Yu Ji-hoon's image appeared on the main screen. He looked tired but dignified, like a leader who had made a difficult decision for his people's survival. Senator Quindar, President, Yu said formally. I trust your inspection has found everything in order? It has, the senator admitted grudgingly. Your compliance has been complete. We gave you exactly what you asked for, President Yu replied. Our military fleet has been reduced by 90%. Our weapons research has stopped. Our defensive systems have been dismantled. Something in the human's tone made Senator Quindar suspicious. You seem almost pleased about this. President Yu smiled slightly. Why wouldn't I be pleased? You've helped us discover something remarkable about ourselves. And what is that? That humanity's greatest strength was never our weapons or our ships, President Yu said. It was our ability to adapt, to innovate, to find solutions that no one else can imagine. Senator Quindar felt a chill run through his predatory body. What are you saying? I'm saying thank you, President Yu replied. By forcing us to dismantle our old military, you gave us the opportunity to build something much better. Before the senator could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the Senate fleet. Every sensor operator in the Armada was reporting the same impossible thing. Ships were appearing out of nowhere. Not hundreds of ships. Thousands. The empty space around Earth suddenly filled with vessels unlike anything the Senate had ever seen. They seemed to materialize from nothing, as if they had been hiding in invisible dimensions. But these weren't the crude warships the Senate remembered from humanity's old fleet. These vessels moved with fluid grace, their hulls shifting and adapting, like living things. They arranged themselves in perfect formations with coordination that seemed almost telepathic. Impossible, Senator Quindar whispered. Captain Huang Jina's voice came over the communication channel. She was the commander of the New Horizon, the ship the Senate had identified as one of humanity's last military vessels. Senator Quindar, she said politely, you asked us to reduce our fleet by 90%. We complied. What you're seeing now is our new 10%. The senator's mind reeled. If this massive fleet represented only 10% of humanity's military power, then their real strength was beyond calculation. But our sensors, his aide stammered. We scanned everything. We found nothing. You found exactly what we wanted you to find, Captain Huang replied. You scanned 3 dimensions. Our ships exist in 12. On the main screen, President Yu was no longer smiling. His expression had become serious, almost sad. You demanded that we stop being dangerous, he said. But you never understood what made us dangerous in the first place. It wasn't our weapons, it was our refusal to accept that something couldn't be done. The Senate fleet found itself surrounded by technology that made their most advanced ships look primitive. Human vessels moved through space in ways that defied known physics. Their weapons charged with energy signatures that Senate sensors couldn't even identify. This is impossible, Senator Quindar repeated. Impossible is what humans do best, President Yu said. You gave us 60 days to comply with your demands. We used those 60 days to evolve. Around the senator's flagship, human ships waited in perfect formation. They made no aggressive moves, but their very presence was a demonstration of power that left the entire Senate fleet speechless. What do you want? Senator Quindar finally asked. We want you to go home, President Yu said simply. Tell the Senate that humanity has complied with every demand they made. We dismantled our old fleet just as ordered. We stopped our old weapons research exactly as requested. We shut down our old defensive systems precisely as demanded. He paused, letting that sink in. What we did with the time and resources that freed up was not covered by your ultimatum. For the first time in his life, Senator Quindar felt truly afraid. The humans had turned the Senate's own demands into a weapon against them. The galaxy will not accept this, he said weakly. The galaxy will not have a choice, President Yu replied. But you misunderstand our intentions. We're not conquerors, we're liberators. A new voice joined the conversation. It belonged to Dr. Shin Aryam, humanity's chief scientist. Senator, we know about the 47 civilizations your Senate has destroyed. We know about the systematic suppression of innovation across the galaxy. We know about the fear that drives your policies. Senator Quindar's body went rigid. That information was supposed to be absolutely classified. As of today, Dr. Shin continued, any species that wishes to break free from technological stagnation will have our support. The age of enforced mediocrity is over. The implications hit Senator Quindar like a physical blow. If other species learned that rapid technological advancement was possible, if they started questioning why they had accepted, Limitations for so long the entire galactic order would collapse. 3 months after the Senate fleet's humiliating retreat from Earth's solar system, the galaxy was in chaos. Not the chaos of war, but the chaos of awakening. Fleet Admiral Song Wanho stood on the bridge of the Harmony, humanity's new flagship. Through the transparent aluminum viewports, he could see something that would have been impossible just a few months ago. Ships from dozens of different species working together, sharing technology, and breaking free from the limitations the Senate had imposed for millennia. Admiral, reported Captain Ko Jungman, the first human to fully integrate with the Harmony Protocol, we're receiving requests for assistance from 17 more systems. The Kalani Republic wants help upgrading their engines. The Morton Collective is asking for medical technology. The Zephyrian Mining Guild wants to know how we developed dimensional storage. Admiral Song smiled. Grant all requests. The age of artificial scarcity is over. The transformation had begun within days of the Senate fleet's return to Nexus Prime. When Chancellor Veltarian tried to present humanity's compliance as a victory, other species had started asking uncomfortable questions. If humans could develop such incredible technology in just 60 days, why had their own civilizations remained stagnant for thousands of years? If rapid innovation was possible, why had the Senate insisted it was dangerous? Dr. Shin Ariam, now serving as humanity's chief technology ambassador, had made the revelation that changed everything. In a broadcast to the entire galaxy, she had presented evidence of the Senate's systematic suppression of technological advancement. For 50,000 years, she had said, the Senate has maintained power by convincing you that progress was dangerous. They've made you believe that innovation leads to conflict, that advancement causes instability. But they were lying. She had shown the galaxy the ruins of the 47 civilizations the Senate had destroyed, not for being aggressive, but for being creative. She had revealed the secret histories that proved the galaxy's technological stagnation was artificial, maintained through fear and intimidation. Humanity offers you a choice, Dr. Shin had concluded. Remain trapped in the cage of artificial limitations, or join us in discovering what your species can truly achieve. The response had been overwhelming. Within weeks, entire species were breaking away from Senate control. The Kalani Republic had been first, followed quickly by the Morton Collective, the Free Zephyrian Worlds, and dozens of others. But the most important conversion had come from an unexpected source. Admiral, Captain Ko announced, we're receiving a priority transmission from Observer Zilmoth. Observer Zilmoth belonged to the Keeper species, one of the oldest and most respected civilizations in the galaxy. They had been part of the Senate's inner circle for thousands of years. Put him through, Admiral Song ordered. The hologram that appeared showed an ancient being that looked like a cross between a tree and a wise old man. His voice was like wind through leaves. Admiral Song. Observer Zilmoth said, I come to you with a request that would have been unthinkable 3 months ago. We're listening, the Admiral replied. My people have been keepers of galactic history for 60,000 years. We have preserved records, maintained archives, and watched civilizations rise and fall. We thought we were preserving knowledge. Ancient being paused, his form flickering with what might have been emotion. But your Dr. Shin's revelations have shown us the truth. We were not preserving knowledge. We were preserving stagnation. We have documents that prove the Senate has been systematically destroying innovative species since its founding. Admiral Song felt a chill. If the Keepers, the most trusted record keepers in the galaxy, confirmed humanity's accusations, the Senate's credibility would be destroyed completely. Why are you telling us this, he asked. Because my people have decided that 60,000 years of complicity is enough, Observer Zilmoth replied. We wish to join your alliance. We will share all our historical records, including the classified archives that prove the Senate's crimes. The implications were staggering. With the Keeper's historical evidence, humanity's alliance would have undeniable proof of the Senate's genocide. No species in the galaxy would be able to ignore the truth. Welcome to the Free Worlds Alliance, Admiral Song said formally. Over the following weeks, the galaxy's political structure began to collapse. Species after species withdrew from Senate authority. Those that remained were either too afraid to leave or too invested in the old system to change. Chancellor Valterion tried to maintain control by declaring the rebel worlds to be infected with human madness, but his words fell on deaf ears. When species could see their neighbors developing new technologies, solving old problems, and prospering under the new paradigm, the Senate's warnings about the dangers of innovation seemed hollow. The breaking point came when the Senate tried to use military force to bring the rebel worlds back into compliance. Admiral Song was on the bridge of the Harmony when the alert came in. "Admiral, Senate forces are attacking the Kalani Republic. 300 ships including Chancellor Valterion's personal fleet." "Response time to Kalani space?" Admiral Song asked. Captain Ko, still connected to the Harmony protocol, answered, "Instantly. 14 minutes using dimensional fold drives." "All Free Worlds Alliance ships," Admiral Song announced over the fleet communications. "This is what we've been preparing for. The Senate has chosen violence over reason. Show them why that was a mistake." What followed was not so much a battle as a demonstration. The Alliance fleet, using technology that the Senate couldn't counter, arrived at Kalani space just as the Senate attack began. The Senate ships were still using conventional tactics: linear formations, predictable maneuvers, weapons that took seconds to target and fire. The Alliance fleet moved like a living thing, ships working in perfect coordination through the Harmony protocol network that now connected multiple species. Within minutes, the entire Senate attack force was disabled. Not destroyed. The Alliance had specifically developed non-lethal weapons to avoid unnecessary casualties. The Senate ships found their weapons offline, their engines dead, their communications jammed. Chancellor Valterion himself was brought aboard the Harmony for a face-to-face meeting with Admiral Song. The crystalline being's light was dim with defeat. "You've won," he said simply. "The Senate's authority is broken. Are you going to destroy us now?" Admiral Song shook his head. "We're not the Senate, Chancellor. We don't eliminate those who disagree with us." "Then what do you want?" "We want you to join us," Admiral Song said. "The galaxy is big enough for every species to reach their full potential, even yours." Chancellor Valterion's form flickered with confusion. "You would welcome us, after everything." "The Senate did?" "The Senate was afraid," Admiral Song replied. "Fear makes people do terrible things, but fear can be overcome." He gestured toward the viewport, where Alliance ships from dozens of species worked together to repair the disabled Senate vessels. "Look around you, Chancellor. This is what the galaxy becomes when species are free to innovate, to grow, to help each other. This is what you were afraid would happen if you allowed progress. And you were right to be afraid," Admiral Song continued, "because this new galaxy has no place for systems built on oppression and stagnation, but it has infinite room for species willing to grow." 6 months later, President Yu Ji-hoon stood before the inaugural assembly of the Free Worlds Congress. Representatives from over 300 species filled the Great Hall, species that had broken free from the Senate's control and chosen to forge their own destiny. 6 months ago, President Yu began, humanity faced extinction because we refused to stop being ourselves. Today, we celebrate not just our survival, but the birth of a new age for our galaxy. He gestured toward the viewing screens that showed the incredible progress already achieved. Species that had been technologically stagnant for millennia were now developing innovations at an unprecedented pace. Medical breakthroughs were saving lives across hundreds of worlds. New forms of art and culture were flourishing as species began to express their creativity without fear. The Senate tried to disarm humanity, President Yu said, but they never understood what our real weapon was. It wasn't our ships or our guns. It was our refusal to accept that improvement was impossible. In the audience, Dr. Shinarium smiled as she watched representatives from the former Senate worlds taking their seats. Even Chancellor Valterion was there, his crystalline form now bright with curiosity rather than fear. Today, we don't just celebrate humanity's victory, President Yu continued. We celebrate the victory of every species that ever dreamed of being more than they were told they could be. The applause that followed came from hundreds of different species, each making own unique sounds of approval. It was chaotic, uncoordinated, and completely beautiful. As the assembly began its work of building a new galactic government based on cooperation rather than control, Captain Ko Jungmin monitored the proceedings from the Harmony. The Harmony Protocol now connected representatives from dozens of species, allowing for communication and understanding that transcended language barriers. "Status report," Admiral Song requested as he joined her on the bridge. "Than we ever dreamed," Captain Ko replied. "The Zephyrians have developed a new form of crystalline computing,